so many other nations, that America just puts under sanctions and then literally forgets. You press the sanction button and then forget and walk away. And so this nation now usurps the position of God in the earth. And so God cannot overlook this. Americans wish that God can overlook this, but God cannot be just and overlook wickedness and sin. And so that is that. And God was just saying that, conversationally, he comes from so many different angles. He's just saying, Americans will be having their baths in barracks. This is literally the first sentence. Americans will be washing up in barracks. Washing up is doing the dishes. Washing up is maybe swabbing the decks of the Navy ships. Washing up is definitely having the shower, cleaning up. Washing up is taking all your dirty camouflage uniforms, your camo to the group laundry place and sitting there and watching it go around and around while you whatever. And then people who are in active combat don't even get that. So he's talking about the preparatory phase. He's talking about the fact that Celestial tell them that in the future, the most unlikely people, male and female, too young, under the age of 18, Americans are going to be conscripted forcibly into the army under the age of 18. Men and women, young children, they are children actually, when they're under 18, they're going to receive forcible conscription letters to go and serve in the army. And the prophecy is called force conscription from October the 3rd, 2024. So below age and also well over the age of when a person should retire. When a person says, okay, I've done this many tours in the army, I want to get out now. I've done this many tours in the Navy, I want to get out now. Then God is saying you will still see people who should have long retired operating in the army. And he basically just says they're going to be washing up from there. They're going to be in military encampments, military structures, military camps and places like that. And they're going to be doing all their eating and sleeping on base. So just think of a huge chunk of the civilian population that right now, he says, they claim they will not go. This is definitely, for instance, millennials and Gen Z swearing up and down on all social media. It doesn't matter what the government says. They can miss me with that. I'm going to get pregnant and avoid it. Oh no, I'm going to move out of the country. I'm not fighting a rich man's war. I'm not fighting America's wars. Those are the mistakes of the past generations. The Lord says they will force you to join the army, either if you have an outstanding student loan. And also, he says, because when America starts suffering her judgments, when America starts going through economic downturn, economic meltdown, the collapse of currency that I've spoken about, the fall of the dollar that I've spoken about, and so many other things, currency crash, credit crunch, homelessness epidemic, when basically there's a squeeze on the country and people don't even know where their next meal is coming from, that's when you will see people willingly flooding into the government, because he says the government's going to be the only one with resources. The reason the government will be the only one with resources is because they're going to take them from us forcibly. The government is going to take everything. All you need to do is, there's one prophecy that if you watch that prophecy, you will understand what being stripped of wealth is like, because the Lord described it in such detail, and it is called the nascent rise of coin. The nascent rise of coin. The government is going to take everything from people. I just even covered it in a prophecy that I did just 2 days ago. Just a moment. It is neither here nor there. They will still be judged for it as a collective. And the understanding is this: when you look in the Bible, war is something that God was behind. Israel never got up to go and just fight people on a whim. They didn't just get up to go fight people on a whim. Israel fought the designated peoples that God pointed out and said, these are my enemies. And it's not often that you see people in the Bible actually coming up to God and saying, Lord, can you give me a history lesson on why these people are your enemies? Because I just feel some type of way constantly being sent to fight people and being told, only take the sheep and the cattle alive, kill every man, kill every woman, kill every child. These people carried out God's directives to a T. They obeyed him when it comes to the matter of war, especially because they were a smaller group of people, and disobedience, tolerating your enemies, as you can see when they crossed into the promised land, it always led to the multiplication of the enemies after a few years. It's like cockroaches. If you don't wipe them all out, after a while, they will multiply and come back even worse than when you first sprayed them. And the second generation of cockroaches that come will be resistant to the spray that you used, which means that you will be forced to escalate and use something different. And so because you don't want to have to escalate and go to extra costs, it is always better to do it at the ground level and to do it well. And Israel, for the most part, were excellent at following God's instructions in war. So you see God active in war, God starting wars against his enemies, who most of them were inbred giant gene carrying people groups, and he did not want them, especially so close to Israel, with their beautiful half Nephilim daughters, enticing the people to intermarry with them, to make treaties with them, to trade with them. God hated that kind of thing. And so he would say, you're going to take their land, but completely wipe them out. However, in the earth, without God pushing America, America has caused untold harm and devastation through the means of war. America has made many an Iraqi womb barren, many a Afghanistan mother cry,